good, people? Day 30. We did it. We made it all the way for 30 days. Tomorrow's bittersweet, but today we're talking about your why. We're talking about the reason why you wake up each morning, you aspire to do something bigger than yourself, to serve others, to give, to build, to deal with the pressures, the emails, the letters, the constant man pull, right? The pull for more money from people, to manage emotions. You're a therapist, you're a psychologist, you're a mentor, you're a consultant to your customers. You may not have realized how hard this game is, and you're in it right now, and you're like, dude, like, I can't see myself out of this. I kind of don't want to do this anymore. If you haven't had that conversation with yourself, then you're not going hard enough. I will make that very clear, because that is a normal conversation to say, hey, Tanner, dude, like, brother, I just don't want to do this anymore. I want to sell the business. I want to move on. I don't want to deal with any of these people. I want to move to a remote island with my family, and I never want to answer my phone again. Okay. I don't know if you've had one of those days in the last 30 days. I don't know if you're looking at your schedule right now and you're like, freaking A, man, I just don't know how I'm going to fill this schedule with work. I don't know if you are going to your job site and you're just seeing things that you're just like, these guys don't get it, man. Or maybe you got a bad egg on the team. Or maybe someone let you down. Maybe something's going on at home, man. I don't know. So many scenarios could be happening to those of you that are listening. And, I want to talk about something called your why. And this is so important, man. Like, there has to be this guiding light in you. I'm not talking about your little business, core statement, right? Like, I think that's really corporate and cool, but like, what's that thing that's deep inside of you that truly drives you to push forward in the storms? Because the storms are coming. You might be in one, right? We talked about this. You might be in one. You might be coming out of one, or one's coming to you, right? There's no in between. I have done this for 10 years now, and that is exactly what happens. Okay, so the thing that I want to come across to you today is, what is your why? And I remember when I first started my business, my why was incredibly strong. And those of you that don't know my story, maybe you're just jumping in. My father had been battling addiction. This was about 6 to 8 months after my mother passed away. So my mother passes away from cancer. My dad was a painter, and up until the point where my mom had cancer, he kind of just stopped working and went into like a deep depression. I was selling cars when my mom passed away, and right after she passed away, I was like, I need to get out of this. And then I transitioned and I found a really good job at a bank, and I was doing really well there. I was a loan officer. I was making about 80 grand a year. I was working my way up the corporate ladder. I was winning awards, and, your boy was doing it there. Like, I was really doing it, and I was so proud of myself. It was a 9 to 5, and honestly, man, I was looking at that and I'm like, man, like, I made it. My previous jobs were all commission based, which sucks. Server at a restaurant, so you're working for tips. So, I was super happy to make some consistent good income so I could support myself. And meanwhile, while I'm kind of building this life for myself, away, I had went to college, and I stayed in the town that I went to college in. Back home, my father and my sister were living together in like extreme poverty, right? He had just, and I didn't know the severity of his addiction because I haven't lived there, and I would talk to my dad every other day. And I don't know if, again, like, if those of you who have dealt with anyone with addiction, these people are incredibly manipulative. So you really don't know what's going on. But I would go, I was continuing working really hard. And by the way, my dad's a great guy, like, just very good dad to me. He's not some guy that just was careless. He just got caught up in the wrong time period of his life, wrong scenario. He was married to my mom for 21 years, and she had cancer and passed away. And that was a really tough time. And he just didn't know how to do life without her. Like, he wasn't really, he was the painter that would give her the money, like that story of like, here, just take it. You do the bills, you do this. And that was his other half. He had lost all motivation. And I didn't know the severity of his addiction until I had talked to one of his friends, and he said that he had been addicted to a very, very strong substance, and it was dominating his life. Like, he was never home. My sister would call me, and she'd say there was no food in the fridge, there's no electric wasn't on, all of the things, right? I mean, it was pretty bad. So, I had this choice to make, right? So I'm working up the corporate ladder. I think I just got done a meeting where they were opening up a new branch, and they were considering me as a manager of that branch. And I'm like, this is my path, man. And I remember how hard it was to get a job before that. So, to put this into perspective, I'm 20, just turned 22. I finally got my first big boy job. I don't have a college degree aside from associate's degree. I'm tearing it up at this place. I'm really feeling that this is where I should be. And anyway, this guy walks in, and one of the coolest parts about this job was meeting the people and all the different walks of life that come into a bank, especially it felt like a little bit of a lower income area, but these were the best people, man. They were just so kind. And one guy brought me this calendar that had this quote on the back of it, and I had been stewing up on the idea that I need to move back home. I was going to start a painting business. I had actually stumbled across Eric Barstow's course, and I had never painted, so Eric Barstow's course was just like a blessing. And I even told him that, and I was like, I need to learn, how to run a painting business. And I just remember how awesome that information was, because I didn't know how to paint. I just knew that my dad did it, and I'm like, okay, well, maybe I can get him back to work and help him get sober. And on the back of that calendar, it said, it's not, man, let me try to rephrase that, because now I'm fumbling, but it said something along the lines of, the only thing you need to worry about is who is in charge. And that was alluding to God. And that was like a sign to me that says, you know what? I'm going to go in with faith here. I'm going to just make the decision. I'm going to take the leap. That day, I walked into my manager's office and I said, hey, I'm putting in my 2-week notice. And they were obviously extremely surprised and like, what the heck? You're our star player. That's kind of what it was like. It's I don't know if you guys follow football, but imagine, remember Andrew Luck? He played for the Colts and he just retires. It's well, sorry, that generally doesn't happen. He's an MVP caliber quarterback, and he goes, yeah, I'm retiring, so that's kind of how I felt in that moment. Was I know I'm playing really well, but there's something greater that's pulling me, and I need to take care of that. And so I moved home. But the reason I'm talking about this is because as I went home, I didn't realize the severity of my father's addiction. It was so bad that in our first job that we worked in, I'm working upstairs, I'm painting a room, and this was for a friend's dad, so it was super embarrassing. He was downstairs and he was falling asleep in the bathroom while painting, Again, not to paint such a negative picture, but I just want you to understand that my why and the reason that I started this thing was so strong, because my why was, I need to succeed here or I'm going to lose my father. That's it. That's it. So I didn't get too caught up in the logistics. I didn't get too caught up on building the perfect company. I understood that every sale I made was one more job that he could work with me on. I understand that every time I made a decision to invest in home advisor leads, that was one more lead that could lead me to one more job. I spent time studying and doing job costing and actually putting in the daily disciplines. Not only that, I couldn't go back to my other job. So every decision I made was based around the fact that if I don't succeed, my father will die. Okay? That is a why. I would venture to say, if you don't have a why, now that's a pretty strong why, and I'm not saying you need one that strong, because that's a little extreme. But if you don't operate with that sort of urgency and fearlessness in your day-to-day operations, then you're going to, number one, miss opportunity. Number two, you're going to fail to take risk. And number three, this is the most important, you're going to let yourself off the hook. And the purpose of the 31 days of value The reason I started this thing was really, because I didn't want to let myself off the hook. And that was from a perspective of one of my core elements of how I operate is I want to provide value to people. I want to give, I want to help, I want to serve, because I know a lot of us are out there navigating business. We have families to take care of. We've got a wife, we got kids, and this freaking game of business can really bite you in the tail, man. Right? And I know how I felt when I had a resource that I could lean on to give me an idea, a strategy that made me feel like I wasn't alone. And I like to be that for people. And I noticed I was getting a little lazy. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to sit here for 31 days and I'm going to freaking record a podcast for that 31 days. And now some of you guys know it turned into a book. I'm on the final round of edits, and that book is turning into an audiobook, and that audiobook is turning into an app. And that just started from consistency. And that started from not letting myself off the hook. And you guys are what didn't leave me off the hook in this context. My why was the listeners, because I'm like, dude, these guys are going to think I'm lame if I don't continue. If I know around day 11 I wanted to quit, day 17 I wanted to quit, day 22 I wanted to quit, but I'm like, my why, if I don't record this, someone who needs this isn't going to get it. And that can mean the difference between them having the inspiration to sell that one job that could help provide for their family or kick their business into a new momentum. The why is the leverage, okay? Because listen, if you guys were not listening to this and I was just recording this by myself and there was no one listening to this, I have to be honest and say I probably would have skipped a couple days. But the why was so strong. It's you. And I wanted to leverage that. I wanted to tap into the essence of why I built Drip Jobs, why I stay in the hunt every day, building Drip Jobs, making changes, fixing bugs, building that company, building that team every single day for 5 years now. Because there's people on the other side of it that need it. There's some people that want it, but there's really people that need it. And I know that. That's the why. So my father needed me to build that painting business, to give him a place to work, to help him activate his purpose again. And I moved home. And it was hard and it was tough, but it wasn't just my father, it was my sister. She needed leadership in the household. She needed food in the fridge. She needed the electricity to be on. She needed internet for her schoolwork. It's deep, man, and I challenge you to spend some time, sit down for a minute and write out your why statement. It don't take much effort. Just write it down. If I don't do this, my wife has to keep going to work. How many times are you going to allow your wife to come home and complain about her job? I'm just being honest. I mean, how many times are you going to just be okay with that? Free her from the responsibilities of the world and build a business that can sustain both of you, right? That's an option. That's a reality, right? So my why has transitioned over the years. And I'm just being real with you because no one's going to be real with you. No one likes to be real, but I'm going to be real, because I'm not in the business of making friends, and I'm not in the business of being liked. I'm in the business of helping people and changing lives and impacting business owners, because I know you people have reach, and that reach is what I really care about, is who's going to get a new job, because the business owner now has a newfound mindset of growth instead of scarcity. And what kid is on the other side of that job that's going to be had? And they might be at the dinner table and the father might say, guys, I got the job, and the kid might be able to sleep good that night, because that kid was me. And I remember what it was like when my dad got a job. It was hope. And you have the ability to create that for people. And here you are playing small. You don't have the hiring ad out because you're scared that you don't have the work. But you're not going to get the work unless you have the why. And sometimes the why is the people you bring on that are counting on you. You're not ready for the pressure. You're not welcoming the pressure in your life. Pressure creates diamonds. This is the secret. You need the why in order to create the pressure. And if you don't have any pressure around you, which I found myself in 31 days ago, you won't create, you won't push through. You'll get lazy. It'll be called natural regression. So yes, I had a very clear, strong why. My dad's sober now. He's in a good state. Mission accomplished. My family's good. I'm healthy. Thank God. God bless. We're okay. Right now, I'm in a state of calm. I got nothing major happening right now. So me knowing the natural regression and me not wanting to lose my natural momentum, I created a challenge for myself and leveraged my why, and that's you. And that's how you operate, and that's how you stay consistent, and that's how you execute. Stop playing small. Create your why today. Identify who's counting on you. That's the greatest why, is someone else who's depending on you to get your butt up in the morning and to make solid business sound decisions. That's the secret. And you thinking that you're not creating impact, you're going through the motions. You're collecting your little check at the end of the week, thinking that you've done something, okay? Business in and of itself is born from service. Hire more people. Grow your operation, create opportunity, create a safe haven for people to come into, especially in our industry, to get away from the chaos of their daily life and give them some hope. This is on you. What's your why? Dude, why are you doing this? And if the answer is you just want to make some more money, this ain't your podcast. I don't know what to tell you, man. You stumbled across the wrong one. I mean, you're not going to get far just trying to make some money to support your little self. This is bigger than you. And it might be, your why could be someone in the future, my future wife, my future kids. I was thinking about that when I worked at the restaurant. I'm like, man, one day I'm going to have kids and I'm going to have a family, and I don't want to be clocking out at 2 a.m. at a nightclub. There's a lot there, guys, but my message to you is to define your why, the catalyst for your growth, use it as leverage, and never stop improving. Tomorrow's day 31, guys. I want to thank you guys so much for being a part of this journey. 30 days. I hope that you've pivoted. If you've stuck with me, I would be disappointed if you didn't pivot into a new habit already. For me, I actually did it myself. I'm doing a 100-mile run challenge where I'm going to run 100 miles this month. And that's because I have so much good energy and momentum from doing this that I'm going to use that to springboard me into the next thing. So thank you, guys. Much love to all of you. Thanks for the messages, the Instagram messages, and keep them coming. I'd love to hear from you. And don't forget to message me or email me if you want a free copy of the 31 Days of Value book. I think if anyone deserves that free copy, it's you, because you helped me write it. So I want to get one in your hands so you can do this challenge in a more structured way on your own and actually really build the habits of waking up early, reading the message, doing the daily action. It's all structured, all formatted. And of course, we got the Bible verse at the end of each day, because everything that I do is surrounded by God's good grace and mercy. So with that said, thank you. God bless you and your journey. Go crush it today. Make that one more phone call, run that one more estimate, put the freaking hiring ad on, never shut it off, turn the marketing on, never shut it off, and stop playing small. That's my message for you today.